this tension that you can really feel that changes. The anxious energy that happens when you now have a kid, and that repair that you're trying to do for the stuff that didn't happen when you were a kid. And, that tension of, I don't want to be like my parents were.
Have you ever looked at your partner after having kids and thought, oh, why does this feel so much harder than it used to? Hi, welcome to Securely Attached. I'm Dr. Sarah Brun, a clinical psychologist and mom of two. In this podcast, I've taken all of my clinical experience, current research on brain science and child psychology, and the insights that I've gained on my own parenting journey, and distilled everything down into easy to understand and actionable parenting insights so that you can tune out the noise and tune into your own authentic parenting voice with confidence and calm. And this week, I'm joined by couples therapist and host of the Dude Therapist podcast, Eli Weinstein. Eli is the author of the upcoming book, From I Do to We Do, Navigating Marriage in Parenting Years. And in this conversation, we talk pretty honestly about what happens to our relationships once kids enter the picture, especially the parts no one really prepares us for. Together, Eli and I explore why parenthood doesn't just add stress, but it often reactivates attachment patterns and old wounds, and why couples can find themselves stuck in the same fights over and over again. We also get into how resentment quietly builds through mental load, feeling unseen, and constant day-to-day logistics. And we talk about what repair actually looks like after things fall apart, why trying to go back to how it used to be often keeps couples stuck, and how nervous system overload and overstimulation can drive so much of the reactivity that we see at home, and what we could do about it. Hi, Eli. I'm so happy to have you back on the show. Thank you so much for coming.
We're here. I'm excited. It's like doing this media tour, so to speak, of being on shows that I've been on before.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, last time you were on was 2020. And I go, that's a long time.
Yeah.
And you don't realize how long we've had a relationship and how long we've been connected or how long we've been supporting each other. It's like, oh, okay, we're back. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's so nice. I mean, that's the best part about having a podcast, I think, is to you get to have these cool moments with people, but then they're captured, right? They're frozen in time. We can go back to it. And then it's oh, and we have a chance to meet again and you can look at the the arc of all the things that have evolved since then. And it's been a few years since you've been on the show. And in that time, you've written a really powerful new book. Can you talk a little bit about it?
Sure.
How has this whole journey been for you?
Oh, it is one of the scariest things I've ever done in my life, and exciting things. I hate writing. And the joke that I always say is I'd rather have a very famous, popular podcast speaking to millions of people, or a show, something that is talking based, over writing a blog post or an Instagram caption.
Right.
It just
you do. You did.
Which I do. And I still do. And it's just
your amazing podcast.
And it's oh, okay. Someone gave me an offer to write a book. And I'm okay, I can't pass up this idea. And it's called From I Do to We Do, Navigating Marriage in Parenting Years. And it's really 80% a relationship book with 20% a lens for those who are in the stage of parenting. And as someone who has two kiddos, I've been there, done that, and kind of understand why and how relationships can totally be shaken up with the chaos of parenting. And it happens to be that over the last, 7 years or almost 10 years of working with couples, it is such a narrative that people call in and say, hey, Eli, you're a couples therapist. We're struggling and we don't know why. And then I point out, oh, by the way, since you've had kids, things have started derailing or going down. They're like, that can't be it. I'm it's a huge part of it though. Mm-hmm. And it's just shedding light on the real stories. There's humor. There's a lot of poop explosion stories, snot, wrong color cup tantrums, all those kind of things. But it's really how to, which was not allowed to be the cover or title of the book, how to love within chaos, or how not to kill each other while you're going through the parenting stage. They said, no killing. I went,
No
come
killing.
on. You're the worst, publisher.
Right? I feel like
But
that's what parents always are screaming, no killing, no
yeah,
killing.
yeah. So
Publishers just
don't kill each
banned.
other.
Yeah.
So it's just it's really from my heart, and it's just so
Mm.
interesting that I'm sure you probably feel this also, that like you're doing the work and with the people that you're also writing about and talking about in general, and how it's so interconnected. And a lot of times over the last, I don't know, year and a half of like this idea percolating and writing it, it's like, oh, you're the reason I'm writing the book. Oh, that's the reason I'm doing this. So it's like
Mhm.
very exciting that it kind
Yeah.
of reinvigorated to continue writing when you get into such negative, weird headspace. I even started going back to therapy. I
Oh,
was off of
wow.
therapy for a little bit, went back to therapy during this process because it was just very dark times of like, you suck, you're not like, like all those kind of negative headspaces of that writing
Uh-huh.
process.
'Cause it's
But we're,
vulnerable, and so
oh,
when
it's
you're in a
so
vulnerable
vulnerable.
state, like, all the stuff comes out.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
very vulnerable. It's very like you have to be very regimented, and you're like, okay, I'm going to sit and write for 5 hours. But I also have like a family, and I also have a practice, and I also have you're just like doing a lot, and you're like,
Yeah,
what the hell is happening? So
yeah.
we're here. The book is done. It's coming out in March, and I cannot believe it.
You
To be
believe it.
honest,
Believe
you
it.
know,
I think it's funny, you're just saying, like, you were, in writing a book about something that you do in your practice, in your clinical practice, but that you also, like, live in parallel to that in your own life.
yeah,
I relate to that very much being a parenting specialist because, before I started doing work with parents, my like background was in working with adults with like chronic childhood trauma and like in a hospital setting. And, you know, obviously there were things that we could relate to with one another, but the work wasn't about, I've been there too, right? The
yeah,
work was, let me understand and let me help you heal, right? But the idea of the parallel experience wasn't part of it. And
hmm
then in moving into the parenting work as a parent, it very much was. And it really shifted the way I even like my use of self-disclosure in therapy or in sessions changed. And I was thoughtful about it, intentional about it, but like it just the relatedness and the stuff I'd have to like, okay, what do we talk about together that I'm experiencing too? And how does that actually help you feel more
hmm
seen? And when is it, oh, I'm actually getting something's getting kicked up for me. I have to take this out of this and go process it with my own therapist and do my work because parenting kicks up my own stuff too. I feel
yeah,
like when you do couples work, it's very similar.
yeah.
Like,
Like yeah, like you're speaking very to the heart of like what the weird balance is of it all.
yeah,
But when you're in grad school and everyone's like, do not disclose and you need to be a statue and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
And you're sitting here doing parenting work and couples work, and I'm telling a story, and someone looks at you and says, oh, so I'm not alone.
Mhm.
And I'm like, exactly.
Yeah.
The purpose of the story is not for me to feel seen of like, oh, yeah, I was in my kid's room 4 times last night. And I also have to, do this. And I'm tired. And we got into a tizzy or a fight with my wife, just so that that, I'm normal. No, it's you're normal. Like we're all doing this. We're all in it
Yeah.
when you have that in that stage. And it just also, I don't know about you, but sometimes when I'm done with a session, I go to my wife and I'm like, oh, thank you for being you. Because
Mhm.
like we talk out some things with the client and they're like struggling with this and they're having a hard time, and we've done that, we've been through it, and we've done the work to not have to get into those things again. But it is something that just really opens your eyes to the fact that every parent has similar struggles, and just because you're a therapist doesn't mean you have it any better
Right.
or any worse. It's just very important for people to know, oh, this guy, yells at his kids, or,
Mhm.
which I do.
Me
And it's
too.
not my greatest moments, but I get overstimulated and lose my. And it's just like, I'm a human
Yeah.
and I don't want to, but it happens. Or I yell at my wife when she is the mother of my children. I wrote a line in the book. I said, it's very weird that the love of my life gave birth to things that I love so much. Like, I
Yeah.
love my kids. I would kill other human beings for my children and for my wife, right? But like the
Hmm.
fact that I had that for my wife, and now she gave birth and is raising things that I also have that feeling, is such an, oh, how could I ever hate this person? How could I ever be resentful?
Yeah.
But it's just, you can. And it's very difficult to fight with
Hmm.
that, those
Yeah.
things. So this book is really just raw and real. It's honest. It's like me. It's very no BS. I tried very hard. I was very worried that it would be too clinical and the publishers would edit it to a point where it would be not me. And I
Yeah.
tried very hard to still have my sassiness in it,
I love your
with just
sassiness.
with just better grammar and writing, because that is not my strong suit, or spelling.
Well, yeah, like I think like I don't know. I feel like if you had an editor that edited out
They
your
tried.
you, there would be a 2-page book because like
They
how could
tried.
it not be?
They tried, and I went, nope, that's staying in. They went, okay, I don't think it needs to be in there. I'm like, I know, I know it doesn't need to be. Like, I really want it to be.
Yeah.
And they're like,
What
okay.
when you were writing the book, like did you have a person or a couple or an amalgamation of people you've worked with like in mind? Who are you writing it for?
Oh, so like the book really, I had an amalgamation of a lot of different clients depending on the topic.
Mhm.
So, of course, names aren't the same. I was going to use Disney names for everything, and the publishing company's like, that's too difficult legally. Please don't do that. And I went, okay, fine, be that way. We had Eric and Ariel, fine. Um, but it's really over the last 10 years of multiple couples in one, and it's different couples for different topics.
Mhm.
So, how to have the hard conversations about different values is like three couples in one.
Yeah.
The fighting, or how to have the, how you word things making the difference, is like seven couples in one. And of course I changed the issue was either the woman, now it's the man. And I also have couples that I've worked with from all different walks of life, all different religions, all different sexual orientations. So like it's really you can find yourself in any of
Mhm.
the, I guess, vignettes that you would call it, or the
Yeah.
cases of the back and forth and things that go through with it, whether it's just the dads or just moms. But it's really for anyone. You can find yourself in
Mhm.
any of the couples.
That's awesome. And like obviously this podcast is called Securely Attached. I have a lot of bias towards thinking about things through a lens of attachment, and I know you do too inside of your work. Like how would you like let's talk a little bit about the way that like attachment roles show up and play out, not just in the couple relationship, but especially once you hit that threshold of parenthood, because
Yeah,
it's like a metamorphosis within that relationship. It like goes
yeah,
through a transition.
yeah. I really think that the attachment style that I think I'm speaking to the most in the book is really the anxious attachment,
Mhm.
because I think it gets like this fight or flight, fear, all that stuff kind of pops up, of worthiness and not enough, and feeling like the comparison and the tit for tat
Mm.
stuff. Like all that stuff is, no, I'm not. I'm not bad. I'm good. I promise. Let me prove it to you.
Mhm.
Kind of
Mhm.
energy, and the I need more, but I don't know what I'm doing. And it's really just this tension that you can really feel, that changes. And I think also a lot of it, and I don't know the research behind this, and I'm sure you do more than I do, of the anxious energy that happens when you now have a kid,
Mhm.
and that repair that you're trying to do for the stuff that didn't happen when you were a kid.
Mhm.
And that tension of, I don't want to be like my parents were, or
Yeah.
or the tension of, I want to make sure this happens because my parents did that and I like that.
Yeah.
And then dealing with someone else and their tensions of how that works. But also it kind of bring out a lot of anxiety of like, am I doing it right? Am I enough? Is this the right way to do it? And then other people's opinions, and oh my goodness, and all those energies playing at once, I think, is a lot of the undertone of what the book speaks to.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you have another person, another adult, that they're going through their stuff, and it's like, oh, hey, we got to worry about you. I don't have enough.
Right.
Like, who the hell has time for that?
Right. Well, 'cause it's interesting. Like you even have a chapter, I think, that's called that like it speaks to this. Like two's a company, three's a circus. But like when you're in a couple, we know that like a lot of attachment relationships or like kind of like the blueprints that we built when we were growing up
Yeah.
get kind of played out inside that romantic relationship. Like we bring
Yeah.
our old stuff to that relationship, but that's just one relationship. It's like a single relationship. It's a lot easier to focus on that and kind of work through the stuff that gets kicked up from that when it's just one relationship to focus on. But then there's like this complex mathematical equation that seems to like happen when you have a baby. It's like, it's not just adding one. It's like, okay, so there's the relationship between the parents. There's the relationship the one parent has with the baby. There's a relationship the other parent has with the baby. There's the relationship one parent has about like towards the relationship of the baby and the other parent. Like
Yeah.
it's like a weird, like exponential explosion of like
Yeah.
relationships.
Is there, because I know there's so much writing on attachment style when it comes to the couple.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a research or writing or even books? Maybe this is your book, but of like the attachment that gets created or renewed or comes out specifically with that child to parent? Because like,
Yes.
you look at Stan Tatkin, right? And you look at why is my brain not working about the other people who've written books on whatever, all the 80
All the
books
books.
on attachment, whatever, all the different ways of
Mm-hmm.
saying attachment. It's really just about, because of your childhood or the relationships you had, this is how now you relate to your relationships with your partner. Is
Yeah.
there work
Tons. I
on?
mean, actually, the romantic relationship research was born out of parent-child attachment research.
I didn't
Like
know
that's the
that.
core basis. So it's like this
Mm.
all goes back to like Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth and
Yeah.
the
Well, of
studies of
course.
like
Yeah.
how we understand what is a secure, insecure attachment
So
relationships is based on.
why are all the books on the relationships of like romantic and not stuck? Why, like, where is all the stuff, like the big books on like the beginning stage of like, hey, you're a parent, here's your child, it's
Mhm.
bringing this up for you.
Yeah, I mean,
Why?
there are like there's a ton. Like Dan Siegel wrote a bunch, and
Oh, yes,
so
yes.
we
He doesn't
have
call it that. It's more
right.
of like,
It's not the title of the book
it's
isn't
not
that,
branded as
but
an attachment. Oh, you're right. That
right.
is
But if you think about,
Inside Out. Inside Out, from Inside Out is
yeah,
not the movie.
yeah.
I think it's called From Inside Out.
No,
I have it here also.
it's called Parenting from the
Parenting
Inside
from the
Out.
Inside Out.
Yes,
Yes, that. Oh, yeah,
that's a
you're right.
lot about that.
Sorry, Dan.
But no, but honestly, just look at the episode list because we've interviewed so many of people. But
I'm
like,
gonna do that. No, I'm really gonna do that. I'm gonna go look
yeah,
at the list because
I don't even.
I find that
It's so
amazing to me.
interesting though. But for people who are
Are there
listening,
differences?
yeah. So well,
No, I mean, like, are
it
there differences?
depends.
Would you be anxious with your partner
It
and
depends,
avoidant with your
right? It
kid?
depends on. So
Ooh, this is so exciting.
basically, if you think about it like this, when you're born, these initial attachment relationships create a
Mm-hmm.
blueprint. And
Mm-hmm.
that blueprint helps us anticipate how future people, how we can expect future people to treat us. So if
Yes.
my blueprint includes information from experiences of being seen and soothed
Mm-hmm.
and feeling safe with my primary attachment figure, that goes into the blueprint. And then when I meet a new person, I'm going to reference that blueprint unconsciously, and I'm going to assume that I'm going to get that same response. And now, importantly, if I
Mm-hmm.
don't, or if I had a really insecure attachment with a parent and I get a different response, a more safe response,
Mm-hmm.
I can edit the blueprint. And like,
Mm.
so significant, like kind of sensitive periods, let's say, of interpersonal relationships, like going to kindergarten, your first teachers, peer relationships in like the 7, 8, 9-year-old range, peer relationships in early adolescence,
Mm-hmm.
initial romantic relationships. These are all sort of like these sensitive developmental points where our blueprint kind of opens back up to be
Mm.
more available for editing, which is both good and bad, right? Because, unfortunately in adolescence, our blueprint's wide open for editing, and we're probably engaging with a lot of kids who probably don't have the greatest social skills at that point. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of room for insecure experiences to get put on the blueprint. Like you could, like this, you'll see this a lot with like, you see someone who genuinely had a truly secure attachment relationship with their parents, had a really solid foundation in the beginning, but went through maybe a pretty significant bullying experience where they felt truly traumatized by that social safety, the absence of social safety there. And that really changed the blueprint and set in motion a much less secure attachment style or pattern going forward, even though they had that secure foundation, right? Like our attachment systems are not set in stone. They're not permanently in there.
For sure.
They're movable and changeable sometimes for the worse, but definitely also for the better. Like if I had an insecure attachment growing up, and I have a blueprint that makes me anticipate insecure and not so safe relationships. But then I have, like, you hear this a lot, I'm sure, in like working with couples where like, they're like, I found that person that made me feel so safe.
Yeah.
And with that person, I feel securely attached. And
But with kids, you don't get that. That's what I'm saying. Like with kids, you don't get that feedback with babies, right?
So the idea is,
all you get like, oh, you haven't done, the only danger is like, how many poops do you have or what spit up are you going to have on me versus like, you're a blob.
It's definitely more of a
progression.
I wouldn't say one directional. It's not, but it's not bidirectional either. Like it's an uneven relationship.
I think that's why I think like toddlerhood is so triggering for people.
Yeah.
Because like until that point, they've just been this cute little blob and they're just starting to do and learn and grow. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's very one directional. And then when it starts getting bi-directional, you're like, oh, now there's feedback.
Right.
You are a butt. Now you're like, now you're pushing me.
Bi-directional from a very like
immature, impulsive little thing.
They tell you the stuff you really don't
the
want
gremlin.
Here.
Like you are the worst dad because you smell. It's like, oh, I didn't. Oh gosh, But it's like, oh, that's okay. I like that. Sorry, I know we went a weird direction on that one.
No, but I think this is super interesting because
I love this stuff.
But importantly, there is a lot of research that says like if you have a certain attachment pattern going into parenthood, that is predictive of your child's attachment style at 1 year and 18 months by at 70%. Like,
woo.
Like it's 70% predictive, which is important because it means that yes, we are very vulnerable and or lucky to be able to trust in our ability to pass our attachment strategies and styles down to our kids. But it also means that it doesn't happen 100% of the time. Yeah. It can be changed. And what is one of the mediating variables that predicts not like, let's say if you have an insecure attachment style and you are worried it's going to go to your kid, the thing that predicts that not happening is something called reflective functioning. Our ability to notice and be curious about our internal experience and the experience of the other. And so the more we can be aware of, oh, wait, my child's crying is really overwhelming me right now. And it makes me want to like scream or it makes me want to like shut off. I can notice that. And then I could say, I could try to soothe that experience for myself and then meet my child's need.
Yeah. I have a client like that I'm working with and have worked with for a little bit, that it's really like every time his kid, is a kid and is not throwing, the worst tantrum. It's not in public. It's in their house, whatever it is. He's like, oh, she's a bad kid. And she, and that is the mindset. And he gets so overwhelmed, overstimulated, where I have to work with him and go, hey, she's not bad. She's having a reaction and she's expressing it.
Right. As we're talking about how parenthood can strain even really strong relationships and bring up old attachment wounds, I want to pause for a moment to share a little about the work that we do at our group practice, Upshur Brand Psychology Group. So many parents come to us feeling disconnected from their partner, from themselves, or from the version of their relationship that used to feel easier. And while these struggles are incredibly common in the parenting years, they can feel isolating and hard to navigate without support. At Upshur Brand Psychology Group, we work with individuals, couples, parents, and families, helping people understand their attachment patterns, repair ruptures in relationships, and build stronger, more emotionally safe connections. That might look like couples therapy to improve communication and rebuild trust, or individual therapy to work through your own attachment history and triggers, or parenting support to help reduce stress and reactivity at home. So, one of the things that makes our practice super unique is that all of these services live under one roof. Our multidisciplinary team collaborates closely so care doesn't happen in silos. Instead, we're able to support the whole family system thoughtfully, cohesively, and with everyone's needs in mind. With both virtual and in-person services, we offer flexible options designed to fit into busy family lives so you can get the support you need in a way that actually works for you. You can find a link to Upshur Brand Psychology Group in the episode description wherever you're listening, or visit upshurbrand.com to learn more. That's UPSHURBREN.com. Okay, now back to the episode.
I talk about this in the book with the Holy Trinity, which is
Mhm.
not a religious topic. I don't know. I just thought of it a long time ago. Like the interplay of actually during COVID, the interplay of like how we expect things to happen, how we perceive them because of that expectation, and then how we deal with the reality, very CBT based triangle. There's a
Mhm.
triangle actually in the book of this little thing just to explain how, like, where the things can happen. And the example I give, and the story that I said was during COVID, when I was still working from home, and my wife started going back to work at a hospital. She's a dietitian, and I was on either paternity leave or whatever, and I was dealing with my wonderful little baby, and I was so excited and in love and figuring myself out and how to deal with being a new dad. Um, the house was a mess, as it should be.
Mhm.
Newborn, life's crazy and hectic, and she came home and gave me this look of, "What have you been doing all day?
Mm.
Look at this house." And I'm sure I've given her that look a million times as well. And I was like, oh my gosh, it broke me. And we were talking about it, arguing about it probably. This was 5 years ago, so who the hell remembers? And it was more of, I thought that because you're home, XYZ would have been taken care of.
Mhm.
Expectation. Well, now I come in, the perception is, oh, you're a lazy piece of garbage. You've done absolutely nothing. Because when I was taking care of the baby, I could take care of the baby and do it. What are you doing?
Mhm.
Now, the piece that's missing is the reality. You weren't there. You don't know how many poops there were. You don't know how I was feeling. You know how tired I am. You don't know how difficult it was. Also, I didn't know what you expected. If I would have known that in your mindset, I would have been able to do that. And the same thing I think happens, we play that game with our kids, right? I'm expecting a child to behave better at a
Mhm.
certain age. And sometimes you need to be smacked out of that mindset to be like, my son is almost 4. It's like, he's 4. What do you expect? He can't
Mhm.
tie his shoes. Like, he can't get dressed by himself. He's having a hard time. He had an accident. He's having a tantrum because he didn't get a nap in, or he's tired, or not feeling well. Like, why are you expecting so much?
Right.
Because maybe that when you were younger,
It was
or you
expected
have,
of
like, it was
you.
expected of you to behave and be perfect and
Right.
to not, and I work with this client specifically because he grew up in that environment where, like, kids don't yell, kids don't scream, it's not chaos, it's perfect, it's like, army. It's like very,
Right.
to the point, and it's very hard for him. And then he lashes out and goes insane in his behavior, and he starts having a tantrum and like matches the kid. So it's a lot of work on like that mirroring and
Yeah.
that at play to go, what are you expecting here? She's 3. She had a long day. She hasn't had dinner yet, and she's tired. Perspective.
Right. I have a theory on that because, like, I see that a ton. And, like, I think a lot of times parents will reflect on that and, like, their own lost it moments and be like, oh, man, I didn't want to like like you said, like I had that expectation and it wasn't met and I lost it. And when they're not in it, they can look at that and it's like it's organized, it makes sense. They're not in it, and so they can be more logical about it
Mm-hmm.
and reflect on and reconsider what their expectation was and was it reasonable and maybe it wasn't. But in the moment, I really think, especially like in this example where it's like this is a parent who, when they were a kid, that was the message, right? If you are loud, you are bad. If you are not holding it together all the time, you are bad, or something bad is going to happen. Something scary is going to happen to
Yeah.
you. And then I think in those moments when you're a grown up and your child is losing it, and it's like that 3-year-old inner child
Mm-hmm.
actually comes out, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's not a punitive parent, actually, I think, that's doing the stop it. It's the
Yeah.
inner 3-year-old that's like, wait, I remember this. This is super dangerous.
Yeah. This is
Stop
not
it.
allowed. Like,
This is not
protect
allowed.
yourself.
We have to shut this down. And it's a
Yeah.
3-year-old. And
Mm.
how do 3-year-olds shut things down? They freak out.
Yeah.
And so it's like his inner 3-year-old is actually like trying to protect everyone in that situation, but doing it with 3-year-old skills in a
Yeah.
dysregulated body. And it's like it falls apart really fast. But like
Yeah.
if he could connect with the compassion as his adult self for that inner 3-year-old and try to help that inner 3-year-old see that it's safe even when my toddler is losing it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
actually, I'm a grown-up now and nothing bad is going to happen to any of
Well, he
us.
struggles with that in general anyway. So that's like also a big picture thing of just like
Yeah.
that compassionate adult. But I know for me, when I freak out or get upset, it's more of my ADHD kicking in, of like the overstimulated
Overstimulation.
noise.
Hi.
It's
ADHD
literally the
mom here is
overstimulation. So
always why I lose it.
it's never, I wouldn't say never, but usually like 9 out of 10 times, it's really not about my perception or
Mhm.
my judgment or you need to do better. It's, I can't handle this noise because I've had
Yeah.
such a long day. My brain is just done. And you just crying right now is like, there's no space for this. So stop it,
Yeah.
because I can't be around this. It's never like, you suck, you're the worst child, I can't stand you, I hate you, why do we even have kids? Like, it's never that route of thinking, or my inner child of, I wasn't told. It's more of like, oh God, brain overload,
Yeah.
I'm going to freak out now.
Totally. I mean, yeah, I think there's different triggers and there's different
Yeah.
things, but like, yeah, I relate to that very much. I mean, I think also you and I have a little bit of like an ace in the hole because we've studied this. Like we
Yeah.
know what's developmentally appropriate, so we can titrate our expectations a little bit more effectively because we just have that background knowledge. Like if I went to culinary school and I walked into a kitchen, I'd have a better chance at like making the dinner work. But
Yeah.
I think for me, I also agree. Like my weak spot, my like areas of growth edge in parenthood where I like lose it the most are less about me having inaccurate expectations of my kids. Although when I'm in a state of dysregulate, when I'm really urgent or anxious or frustrated about something else, I get more rigid about my expectations so that
Yep.
even that will happen. But my like biggest Achilles heel with losing it as a parent is overstimulation.
Yep.
Like my kids
100%.
knew what the word overstimulated meant
Yeah.
when they were very little because I would just be screaming, I am overstimulated.
Yep. Yes, 100%. Yes.
Yes. So I think we all have our stuff. But that's the thing. It's like when we figure out what our stuff is, then we can do something about it. There's the reflective
100%.
functioning. There's the capacity to own it and do something with it. Being aware of it. Because yeah, every parent's going to have a different thing that makes it hard for them to parent or be in relationship with their partner in the muck of parenthood.
Yeah.
But if we figure out what our thing is or what our things are, because there's probably more than one,
Right things. Yeah.
well, we could do so much more with it.
Yeah. For sure.
What was your favorite chapter to write in this book?
Oh, I hate that question, but I love it
Yeah.
at the same time. So from an emotional standpoint, it's the conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was really like this finality of like, oh my gosh, I'm writing this book. But also the story was about my third grade teacher, who I grew up living behind her, in where I grew up in Long Island. And she had us do this thing where she made us write all the different, like, I can't, I don't, I won't, on pieces of paper and put them in a shoebox, and we buried
Uh-huh.
them in the backyard of the school. And she said, from now on, you will try, you will do, you will get help, you will figure it out. These words are not allowed in my classroom ever again. And she was like this, oh, she's still alive. She's like 4'9". And I remember she's this tiny little Jewish woman, Mrs. Itzkowitz, her name is. She's a sweetheart. Every time she sees me, I'm 6'2". So she goes, oh my gosh, you grew up. You're so big. She's such a sweetheart. I love her to pieces. And I called her to let her know. And we were both like on the phone crying. And I said, I remember writing, I can't write, but I just wrote a damn book. Like, so
Ooh,
like it
I
was a
just got
very,
so
so it's like a very like full circle moment
yeah.
that I love. And I tie it into, like, stop thinking that you can't in your marriage, in your relationship or with your kids. Like, you can. You just got to find something that helps. And it might not be this, it might not be that, whatever it might be, but like, don't say that word. Stop saying those things to yourself, because it's
Mhm.
limiting you and stopping. So that's like my favorite from a clinical perspective, from like a therapeutic perspective. I'm really, I love the gray area chapter,
Yeah.
because it's really something I see often, that I know a lot of people struggle with, myself included, depending on the day, of like the black and white, and how
Mhm.
life is gray. And parenting and relationships are so nuanced. It's not an all or nothing game. It never is, it never will be, it never can be. That's not health. So it's really something that I just am very passionate about, and the stories and the things that I put in there were like this idea of nuanced.
Yeah. This is what I was saying earlier about like this like complex, weird, non-linear equation that happens when you have a
Yeah.
baby. It's not just 2 plus 1 equals 3. It's like 2 plus 1 equals an explosion of all these complexities, and it wakes up stuff that we didn't realize we still were working through
Yeah. And
in
that's how
the
I start the book, with
yeah.
that argument. I write a really raw moment in my marriage that was like, it started off, I will say, because now I'm interviewing and talking about the book. When I wrote the book and I put it in print, I did not remember this, why we were arguing. But
Mhm.
now that I've thought about it and was like, oh, and I was talking to my wife about it, she's like, oh, it was about, we were fighting about who to go to for the holidays.
Uh-huh.
And it was an anniversary. We were during the first year of my daughter's life. Her name's Ricky's life. And it was the spark, I guess, or that little, I don't even know a good word for it, but the spark to open our brains and heart and mind to unload all the things that we didn't talk about till then. We were not arguing about where we're going for the holidays.
Mhm.
That was just the start.
Yeah.
And then it just unraveled. But it gave us the opportunity to put it all out there in one of the worst arguments we ever had till today. I have 11 years being together. Till today, one of the worst arguments we've ever had. Like, I was going to think about getting another hotel room in the
Mm.
hotel, like, kind of argument. Like, I cannot be around you and stand you right now.
Was
And
it
we
so
just
bad
did that.
because it got so hot and then in the heat painful things were done or
Yes,
said, or was it because we had to lay out things we really didn't want to have to lay out, and now we have to look at it?
both. It was the fact that we just went all out like war. And then it was, oh crap, we got to do something about this too. And
Mhm.
it wasn't anything so severe. It was just the small things that built up that we just never let someone else in. It was the, I don't feel seen as a parent. It was the, I don't feel respected. It was the, I don't feel enough as your partner. And it was the, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. It was the, I'm really overwhelmed, and I feel like whatever, all the feelings that we were just like, hey, we communicate. I had a client of mine, and I quote in the book that said that relationships with parenting is like just downloading information. A lot of it's just like, hey, who's doing this? Who's doing what? Okay, good.
Oh,
One, two,
yeah.
three, break. Right? There's no depth. So we didn't have a lot of depth at the time. And it was just this, we need to rip this band-aid off and vomit all this stuff out to make space for the depth, because we've been just shoving in logistics and downloading
Right.
information. We need to like reset the RAM, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it was really like a very eye-opening experience. And it really did prepare us because our first kid, she was amazing. Like she slept well, she ate well, she just didn't nap. And then my second kid, my son Max, like scared the crap. Like he ruined us because he didn't sleep for like the first year or so. He slept like 1 to 2 hours at a time at night. But because we did the work and had that aha moment of pain of like letting it all out during Ricky's
Mm-hmm.
beginning, that we were like, oh, now we know what to work on. That stuff is not going to get to us as much anymore, even if it is hard. So we were
Yeah.
able to look at Max and go, this is really hard, but we are better and we know how to handle this and we can do this
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
That sucks. Versus everything's great, everything's wonderful, and we couldn't figure it out between the two of us.
Yeah. I wonder too, in your work with couples, like how many times you are seeing couples have these sort of like break everything open fights, but then after that happens, we don't really want to sift through it and put it in order and come back to it and like repair those things. Not just repair from the fight, but like repair the bigger wounds that have been accumulating, or even just solve the problems. And how many times it's like, let's just, okay, we had the fight, we repaired because we said, I'm sorry about fighting, but we didn't repair all the stuff that would accumulate to cause the ultimate eruption. And like, how do you help parents do that work?
Yeah, so I think every couple does that. I think every couple does one or the other. Every couple who has kids. The hard part is a few things. With my ADHD brain went like 8 directions. The first thing I would say is when you are repairing, are you letting go of the list? Like burn the damn list. You had the things on the list. You've been holding on to it. You let it out. Okay, now that you want or are trying to actually do the work, first of all, don't do it alone. Call a therapist, please, because you're still in it. You're still in your feels. You're still in your emotions, your ego. All the stuff is playing into it. You need a third party to go, hey, I'm noticing A and B when you say that, and you're not actually listening to what is actually being said from this perspective, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of being able to put the puzzle pieces back together versus you're holding your pieces and you don't want to give the piece to the other person to fit, right? You're like, no, these are mine.
Yeah.
So,
I don't want to
and a
let
lot
go
of
of these
I don't
pieces
want to
of
let
what
go of
I'm
the
mad
pieces.
about.
So you need someone to say, hey, can you please share? Like, can we figure this out? Like a referee, but someone who actually knows what they're doing. And the list, I see a lot happen more with women than men. This list of like, but this, and this, and this. And the guy's like, we went through this already. I'm sorry. Like, and even if they go through the points, it's like, but this still exists. So a lot of time it's throwing the list out or burning it in a way so you can reset, even though the pain still exists, but to kind of reset a little bit in a way that has like a clean slate
Mm-hmm.
or an ability to actually work on it. The other thing I see happen a lot is the work on how, well, if you look at Gottman, right, they talk about the gridlock arguments. So about 16% of arguments are unsolvable. They're just repetitive. There's no one's moving, no one's kind of adjusting their way of thinking or lifestyle. So I like to look at it as like the news helicopter that's looking overhead going, hey, we see the gridlock. We see where the problems are. Go this way. But guess what? You're in the traffic. How the hell can you figure out? You can't get out. So you have
Mm-hmm.
to be the news helicopter and kind of look at the feelings,
Yeah.
the things that are not being met, not the thing itself, because then you get trapped. You get stuck in it. So a lot of times it's no, I want to be stuck in here. I need to force figuring this out, but you can't. So a lot of the holding pattern of the growth is no. We're gonna talk this through. We're figuring this out. You can't do that sometimes. So it's okay. Well, what is actually going on underneath? What are the feelings above the thing itself? So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times it's the list, it's the we got to force this or figure it out in gridlock, and a lot of it is just these attachment patterns of I need space. No, I need to be on top of you, or I need to pull away. No, I need more attention. And it's a lot of these interplay of kind of figuring out those kind of things. And the last thing I'll say on this topic is the idea of letting go of the fact that you are like accepting the fact that you are changed. and letting go of
Yeah.
how you used to do things, but like the fact that you are a changed couple, not for bad, but like, can you look at who you are now and regrow? That has died. What used to happen is not going to happen again. You're not going to be able to have that freedom and all those things. You're right. It sucks. It's really, really crappy. I get it. But okay, what can you do now? It's like that DBT style of this happened. I feel now what?
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't want to do that radical acceptance. They want to keep going, but we used to when we didn't. Oh, but we used to go on so many. Oh, it's a beautiful memory that still exists. No one's taking that away from you.
Mm-hmm.
But what about right here going forward? So a lot
And
of
how do
times,
you
all these
find
things.
what that gave you in other forms now? Like, 'cause
Exactly.
it's not,
Again, it's that essence. It's the essence of it, not the thing itself.
yeah. I think that's really
Yeah.
helpful because I think, right, sometimes we get stuck in this was the thing and I want to see the thing happen again. If we are stuck there, going back to your like triangle of like expectation, perception, and like reality of it all, like if my expectation is it should be coming back. I should be able to have this thing again. And the perception is something is keeping me from having it. And
Yeah.
I'm resenting that. But the
Yeah.
reality is you can have the it if you think about it as the essence or the feeling or the function of it, but it might not look the same anymore. How do you and you have a right to want it and you have a right to need it and to seek it, but can you expand your idea of what could do that for you and
Yeah. 100%.
involve like it's like a new reality?
Yeah. 100%.
I think that's great.
I hope so.
I think it is. I think people I think people listen to your work and to go to your therapy for a reason and want this book for a reason. If people want to connect with you, if they want to learn more about your work, check out your podcast, get this book, where can we connect them to?
Sure. So Instagram is Eli Weinstein _LCSW. You can DM me questions, thoughts, comments, whatever it is. Again, it's not therapy, but even like a quick question or like some advice, I'm more than happy to share some thoughts. My website, eliweinsteinlcsw.com. You can find my podcast. You can find my book on there and pre-order it. I don't know when this episode's coming out, but it's coming out in March, the book. So you can either get on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, Bookshop, Books A Million. I didn't know those other two existed. Anywhere you get books, please, pre-ordering is really important. But also on top of it, I really think this book is important. Not because I wrote it, but because I think it like could actually help people. And I hope it does. And the podcast is being relaunched in February, The Dude Therapist, with a whole new vibe, a whole new team behind it. Because the team was just me, and now it's not. Now it's more people. Thank goodness. Again, please, 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 just don't say you can't. Keep trying. Find a podcast that speaks to you. Find a book that helps. Find a person in your life. Find a therapist that really pushes you to grow. And I promise you, you can. You got to find the right thing.
Yeah, that's a hopeful way to end on that note. Thank you so much. Woohoo! If you enjoyed listening to this conversation, I want to hear from you. Share your thoughts and your feedback with me by scrolling down to the ratings and review section on your Apple Podcast app or whatever app you're listening on. And let me know what you think of this episode or the show in general. Your support means the absolute world to me. And just a simple tap of 5 stars can make a real impact in how this show gets reached by parents everywhere. So thank you so much for listening, and don't be a stranger.